Hello and welcome back to the Warwick F1 Show and welcome to the latest episode of The News. So our main topics this week are going to be looking at kind of new contracts or cut contracts, I guess.
Yes.
With the latest driver news in the driver market. We'll start with Sergio Perez having a 2-year kind of renewal. And so I've got two guests with me today. I'm Will Biddles and I'm being joined by Callum as ever. Callum, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
And James, who's a returning guest. How are you, James?
Good, yeah.
Good. So we'll start with Sergio Perez. So news came out the other day that he's been given a 2-year kind of renewal with Red Bull, which I think kind of shocked a lot of people. I think a lot of people thought if he was going to get any, it would be a 1 year, take them up to the new regs, and then throw someone in with everyone with it, a new experience for everyone. Sort of what people think Mercedes might do with Kimi Antonelli or something along that line. But I guess, from my point of view, their thinking behind it is it keeps Verstappen happy. The team dynamic doesn't change. Everyone knows their place now. They've kind of put Perez down that he knows he's a bit washed at this point. And that they may as well try him in the new regs because there's no guarantee that Verstappen will be as good. And it's kind of, you don't have that big change in one go. So you can have the big change with the regs and then the big change with the driver the year after.
And I feel as well it's that maybe, obviously, it's no secret that Perez hasn't been on very good form recently, and maybe Red Bull do feel that might be down to because he feels there is a bit of pressure about his seat not being under contract for next year, and his performance is suffering as a result. So maybe they feel that that's maybe why he hasn't been performing as well, because he hasn't responded well to that pressure, and that if his position feels a little bit more secure and maybe they do get him under contract, then they feel that he'll feel a lot more comfortable with the car and he'll be able to perform a lot better now, knowing that he's got that seat secured for the next 2 years, hopefully. And I guess we'll see in Canada this weekend if that does actually come true, and if that has.
Well, I suppose as well it will help him next year in that case as well, because he won't have to be thinking about it.
Exactly, yeah. It's a while until he's going to be in that position again of having to fear for his seat in a way.
I mean that might mean would he have outlasted Danny Rick at Red Bull?
Yeah.
When did that?
Danny Rick went 2014.
It was 5 years at Red Bull.
So this would
he
be
signed in 2020, so yeah, it would.
Oh,
very surprising.
That's concerning.
It's
7 years of Sergio Perez.
But then is that because
he would have done 20? Did he not do 2020 or did?
No.
Oh yeah, okay, it'd be 6.
But then can they maybe be a bit more a Red Bull in a more lenient position because Verstappen is
so good,
ridiculous,
it's just about having that person with them to pick up.
And also I think they want something different. It's a bit difficult to compare it to Ricciardo because they want something different in Perez. Yeah. Because with Ricciardo there, it was certainly, and at least initially when he came
there
in,
was a head-to-head.
Exactly, and Verstappen was still developing, and it was very much like a fight between the two drivers, probably a bit like what Ferrari have at the moment. Whereas with Perez, they purely want that second driver who can just pick up the pieces when Verstappen, on the one race every 20 that he's not performing well. And so I think definitely for the most part he's been, obviously he's had quite a few slip ups along the way, but for the most part he has done that somewhat.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is you look at their merch sales. He's responsible for 2/3 of it. Like, he brings in a lot of money compared to what Max brings in. So I think that might be kind of, we've seen the whole drama with like the ownership at Red Bull, and then maybe they're saying, look, if you're going to keep Verstappen and keep this team, you're going to keep Perez to keep some money coming in. James?
Sorry, go on.
James, you got one?
Yeah, well, I think Red Bull wants an easy teammate for Verstappen. They don't want to unsettle Verstappen. They don't seem particularly bothered by the Constructors' Championship. Maybe they even don't want to win the Constructors, so they get more R&D wind tunnel and computer simulations and things. But yeah, I mean, the only thing it didn't really have was last time his form tailed off not long after we got a new contract, so still make a massive difference. It's certainly a pretty dull call. Not, it'll probably make them the longest serving teammates as well. Most of the time, two drivers that are teammates as well.
So certainly one of the
I think it'll be a
lineups on the grid that's been around for quite a while.
I think Effa potentially as well. Like you look at
Maybe.
I think if Hamilton
Ferrari,
Rosberg had
Barrichello
filled out
and-
their whole contract to 2018, which they didn't then, they would have been a number 7 position as said, and the next season were longer than they were then. So.
Which is interesting because we were here last week talking about how we're wondering if Perez even
we'll have a
deserves a
seat.
seat for next year.
I don't even think he does at the moment.
It,
It's just a money thing.
it's up and down. It kind of changes all the time because we were saying at the start, like I was saying at the start, like maybe because I like nothing ever goes like right.
Yeah.
Whenever I say something like I say, oh, I think Perez has done enough, and then he like qualifies P18. So I think
Yeah.
it's kind of it's a bit of inconsistency I think from him, and I don't know if excuse me, I don't think maybe Red Bull feel that they do need to kind of settle down with it and just make sure that they know that they still have that faith in him even with the bad performances as well. And yeah, it would just be interesting to see how he responds to that this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well the biggest kind of casualty is the fans because we're going to have to be put through a couple more Mexican Grand Prix most likely as well, which is just not the most fun event in the world.
No, that's true.
Hopefully we can get rid of that but keep Checo. That would be like a nice balance.
I feel like
That's not going to happen.
I feel like he'd hold F1 to ransom or something. Perez.
Papa Perez.
If we couldn't get a Mexican Grand Prix, that is true. So basically, yeah, we've ended up with Red Bull have got Perez, and the fans still have a Mexican Grand Prix. So
Yeah.
maybe not good for either party.
Yeah, because I think that takes both the drivers now to 2027, so they're kind of set for the future. One team that really isn't set now is Alpine. So news came out, I think it was around Monday, as we record this on Thursday, that Esteban Ocon will be leaving Alpine at the end of the season, which I think, on the back of their comments at Monaco, people aren't shocked by and feel like they're jumping to conclusions. But I think the consequence they actually wanted is what I'm hearing, is that they did want to actually suspend him for Canada.
Right.
But I think there's been some agreement made. Ocon's gone out and wants a new team anyway. So I think it is very mutual.
I think it was more. It certainly didn't sound like that. It was the team doing that on their own. It was Ocon did have some element of choice over it. Well, I mean, some element.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I mean,
but I think
he, in his kind of thank you post, said, my plans will be revealed in due time. So I think he's obviously got something lined up. I think the two teams everyone's talking about are Haas and Mercedes. Mercedes, I'm not sure I can see it.
Haas, Williams or Sauber.
I think they want to cut the Williams cut the Mercedes ties. So I don't think he'll be going. I think Haas makes sense because it means they get rid of K-Mag. They've already lost Hulkenberg, so they're going to have that kind of
that's true. They do
senior
need to
senior driver.
Yes.
So I think the guess is Ollie Behrman's going to be in that car anyway. So having Behrman so you got to feel sorry for Behrman to some extent. He's not exactly the best teammate to start with, but
no, he doesn't. He doesn't really get on with anyone. Ocon. Well,
no.
He hasn't had a good history of that. Obviously, a lot of time with Perez in the past where he didn't do well. And
Perez, who notoriously gets on well with his teammates, really,
yes,
as well.
as well. And he's so that does imply that kind of Ocon
is the issue.
Is the issue, but
Although, he did have Otmar as his team boss, which I think says all you need to know.
Yeah, it's not a great starting point, really. That is it. But yeah, I think it's. I wonder the reasons why this is actually the case because obviously this does come after the comments that Bruno Famin made in Monaco after that incident that Ocon had where he did he was responsible for his own DNF and could have even potentially caused a double DNF for the Alpine team
in a season where points are really hard to come by.
Absolutely for them, and Bruno Famin said, we shall be
There will
taking.
be consequences.
There will be consequences. Yeah, so it was. But yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he feels maybe Ocon feels that he has been a bit disrespected at that team.
I don't.
Because that's quite a. I don't know. Is that like quite a big reaction? Obviously, we've had like plenty of people have been talking about this. Is that too big of a reaction from Bruno Famin? Should he have not said that and dealt with it internally? Did he have a right to say all of that?
I don't think he should have said it all.
Afterwards?
But I think the fact that there are consequences from basically potentially ruining what could be your only chance of points all season is valid. I think
Yes.
like if you're going to say that we've had the meeting before the race, do not send one up the inside of your teammate. And what do you go and do? Send one up the inside of your teammate. After there's already like been a massive crash. So there is a good chance that you will there is another restart. You will gain a position potentially and get double points. But that's not even possible now.
He still drives quite immaturely at times, I think, and it's
teammates.
yes, yeah, indeed, and it's
You see that, his teammates.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it was maybe both of them from both sides of the table. Perhaps I wonder if
They just needed a split.
exactly, yeah. So Ocon maybe felt like he was being a bit disrespected, and then Alpine do actually like want a driver that's a bit cooperative
And listens.
But this is, and we should also mention that Alpine have sacked someone else, a veteran operations director.
Yeah,
and this comes
people.
as another nail in the coffin for Alpine.
Who on earth would want to work there? The turnover
No.
is.
I don't.
Well, the other one is Pierre Gasly's out of contract this season. So the rumour mill is currently there's going to be Jack Doohan and Mick Schumacher of all people, because Mick Schumacher's currently with their hypercar team over in WEC.
Oh,
so he's got good ties to them.
Don't bring him back.
But that would just be
I think that would be a pretty
like-
weak lineup for Works team.
I think you don't want Jack Doohan learning from Mick Schumacher.
No,
That's
you
the
don't want anyone
worst
learning
thing
from Mick
possible.
Schumacher.
No.
I think
Keeping Gasly would be a good. Gasly as your lead driver, I think, is a good thing. Or they could just buy out Yuki Tsunoda's contract, give Yuki Tsunoda an upgrade that he's really deserved, and you
Is
can
that an
reunite.
upgrade, though?
You can have Gasly and
Is that
Tsunoda
an-
back
is that
together.
an
What's he
upgrade?
get?
It could
what's
be.
He get for staying at RB in the long term?
that is true.
He's not gonna
He
get
doesn't-
anything.
because especially after that contract with Perez has come out.
He's
and
basically in
it's-
the same boat as what Gasly was.
Yes, yeah, he doesn't look like he's because you would say that with the point of that second team is in preparation for moving drivers up, and it's like Tsunoda isn't used to the sport. He's been with us for quite a few seasons
4 or 5 years now, yeah.
Exactly, and he doesn't really look like he's progressing anywhere, and so maybe he does feel like he has to get out of that Red Bull family a little bit.
Maybe he'll go to Mercedes.
Maybe
That'd be quite fun.
Yeah, we do forget that Mercedes are still looking for a driver for
I
next
think
year.
everyone kind of knows it's going to be Kimi Antonelli, though.
Really? Do you think
I think
that they'll
his-
go with someone that
Well, he's testing in that car
Inexperienced.
again lately in Barcelona.
maybe?
I think it's like 1 year, get him in the car, and then because they know they're going to be useless anyway, they're not going to win anything. So give him
They've
the
accepted their position.
give
at
him
this
the
point.
experience, get him in for the new regs with a year of experience, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's I feel like as well, because we talked about this on the podcast a few episodes ago when we talked about our driver lineups, and we said, oh yeah, like neither driver's going to go from Alpine because there's not really a reason for them to go, but we haven't actually considered the fact that they actually
don't
still
want to
want
be
to be
Alpine.
at the team. So it's not looking good for them, is it?
I just don't think Bruno Famin inspires excellence.
No,
Like, you look at him and think,
it's-
like,
it's
do
not
I want to
like- it's
work
not-
for you?
It's
Not really.
it's not like a very inspiring character, is it?
It's not like Fred or Zach Brown, where you look and think, yes.
Yeah, you look at Zach Brown, especially. I loved Zach Brown after that win in Miami for Norris. He's just
In that case,
he's just such a meme.
yeah.
But yeah, certainly not Bruno Famin.
Like, I can't imagine Bruno Famin stood on a podium. Like,
No, you can't imagine him celebrating with the champagne.
no.
Well,
I can imagine him sat there drinking it.
Well, he doesn't have to really prepare for that at this point, I think.
I don't think
he's
he'll ever
got-
have to.
No.
I think he might get sacked at the end of the year.
Maybe it's certainly.
Alpine's rate of sacking people, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, certainly, and it's
He'll be a graduate team principal.
I think they're going to need, well, probably what they're going to be looking for, especially because think of the amount of people that's investing in that team, all the different sports
there's so much money. And
personalities.
it's gone downhill since.
Yeah, and they're going to want big changes, and I think that they will try and have like a kind of massive. Maybe they might need like a massive clear out on just
They
a
should just
massive
go
change
back
in
to
personnel.
Renault.
Perhaps
Bring back
to
Cyril.
bring back to the banana car.
Yeah, well, no, go back to like the Telefonica, like blue and yellow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but then if you go back to those colours, you have to.
Bring back Alonso.
Well, I was going to say you
that's
actually have to bring
gonna
back some form,
That's true.
but
Yeah.
anyway, we shall. See
Yeah,
how that
I think that's kind of
progresses.
the main driver news anyway. And the other kind of bit of news is Mohammed bin Sulayem basically telling Andretti, "We're not going to give you a team. Go and buy one." Is kind of, to paraphrase it. I think the news was that he's been recommended to them, or he's recommended to Andretti and that group to see about purchasing a team rather than inheriting one or gaining a
Or actually,
team,
getting an 11th team on the grid,
which is what I think every F1 fan wants. Near enough. Which,
for them to buy a team.
yeah, for them to buy a team. I mean, the only thing that it would be Haas, I think.
Well, yeah, so Kick Sauber is already taken because obviously you'd aim for the lower down teams and not the works teams, and so
Like, Williams
Haas
isn't going to
is
be
the only-
sold.
No,
It's a shame because I mean, an 11th team on the grid would give two opportunities for two more drivers. It would mean more overtakes, more pit stops, more crashes, more safety cars. More.
have we ever had an 11th team on the grid?
Yeah, they used to be 12.
Used to be 12. When was that?
Like
Recently, trial
early 2010s.
That soon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
we had
okay, I
11
did not
in
know that.
2016.
Yeah, we had like HRT and Manor.
Yeah,
and
10 is very
and
small.
Caterham.
10 is small by historic proportions. I think go back to like 1989, there were like 40 cars or something.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
it's.
it's that much.
10 is.
But do we
the
think? But
smallest ever been.
are Andretti going to be persistent and not
Some
take?
sort
Because
of Congress are
they
looking
might have to
into
take. They
it
probably have to take his
under
advice.
anti-competition rules.
They have to be weird. It's weird though because they're taking it to US courts, but it's a UK-based company, so we don't have to comply to the American rules.
Okay.
So like, it's a bit of a funny one. But
It's a bit ridiculous. It just makes them look greedy. Like look at it, closed shop.
I think Toto Wolff has a hand in this somewhere.
Why?
Because he was very adamant against anyone ever joining, because they lose money effectively. And at the end of the day, he is a businessman. Like, he is not a race car driver, he's not a sports person, he is a businessman.
But they've taken new teams in the past, but that was when there was uncertainty about existing teams going bust. I mean,
Yeah.
they took on 3 new teams in 2010, but that's when
So-
brands were leaving in the recession.
It's been almost
They're
10
worried.
years.
And also, if Andretti do
Took it
join,
We took in Haas in 2016, but again, then there were concerns about
They also weren't
existing
bad
teams
when they
were gonna leave.
started.
There was talk that Red Bull might leave because they didn't have an engine, and Victor was so with there, and Lotus on the verge of going. Lotus and Bush were on the verge of going bust, so they were worried about ending and Sauber. So maybe ending up with like 5 teams or something. So
Yeah.
now there's
I
no danger
think,
that
and also if
happening.
Andretti do join as an 11th team on the grid, that's another team that can finish ahead of Mercedes and they drop back. So, yeah, I think any way you look at it, Toto Wolff is not gonna.
Be happy.
It's gonna try and.
to beat them. It's another team to split the prize
Yes,
money unless
it's-
they're convinced it can grow the sport by enough. I mean,
I think it would.
General Motors is.
I think General Motors as the engine supplier would be awesome, because you get a Chevy engine, and they make IndyCar engines anyway, so they've got experience doing that. I think you have that Chevy v Honda that you'd have in IndyCar, which is quite fun anyway. Plus, you'd also have a brand new American audience. Like Haas,
but can you get
Haas
that?
to an extent are like a well-known American. Andretti are in every US motorsport, especially IndyCar. So like getting those fans
So
to
you,
watch
but
F1.
you think that would be done? You would need an 11th team on the grid for that, rather than
I think it would be better than doing it with like
buying
a
Haas.
5th race
Yeah.
in the States or whatever they're trying to do. I think just give them another team. Give Americans a rivalry between Haas and Andretti. Like,
What, so
we'll
they
let
tune-
Penske buy Haas and let
tune
Andretti
into
buy
s-
one,
tune
and then have
into-
like a mini American rivalry every
Tune
year.
into Fox Sports where we just get special coverage of Haas and Andretti. fighting
Yeah,
at the back.
by all means, I'd have no issue with that. That would just be fun.
It's
It'd be
like,
better than what we have now.
Yeah, they just highlight who's winning out of Haas and Andretti and just ignore the
There is no.
Mercedes
It's
and
just the
Ferrari
US
up front.
Championship.
yeah,
They are still world champions.
it's like an NFL where they just the team winning is as world champions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It should be interesting whether they take their advice on that or not.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what the next steps are in regard to that. But I think that kind of hits the major news topics we've had the last couple of weeks. Has anyone got any other big news from F1 they can think of?
I can't think of at the moment. That's been pretty much pretty much. Oh, the only other thing is that there's been some talk of that there's no race in Africa, and then some people are calling figure for
on the BBC.
Yeah.
But where in
Kyle
Africa?
on
I don't think South Africa can't even provide reliable power supply.
Well, it's getting better, I think, as well. And I think give it 3 years and there'll be a contract signed.
I'm not sure South Africa's
So
in the state to do it.
So what's this going to be like? 27 race seasons.
That's about the only.
Well, I think the
problem
cap
is
they're looking at is 24,
Unless
or
you build
25 as max.
Unless you build a new circuit somewhere else in Africa, but I don't know where, or a street race somewhere.
I think we've been to countries that haven't been able to do it before. I think we went to Spain when they were in mass recession, and like it's possible. You've got to have the infrastructure and have F1 help you out, like they did with Vegas.
There are no circuits, and they can build one or do a street track.
And obviously there's got to be the fan base to actually fill out. But I think
There definitely is, yeah.
But
I think that kind of hits all of our kind of major news points. So thank you, James. Thank you, Callum, for joining us today, and thank you for listening.